Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Pam and I make beauty, fashion, and lifestyle content. We are going to be trying all new makeup. I have a little bit of skincare, a good setting spray. So with that being said, let's get into it. Started with the skin, we're gonna go in with the Kiehl's Avocado Creamy Eye Treatment. This is a product that I've kind of been playing around with already, and it has this really cool like light green color to it. I don't know if you can see it. I think eye creams are actually 100% gimmicky, and I actually think that you can just use a really good moisturizer and then lightly take it up to the under eye area, because there's no way that you can actually ensure that a specific concentrated eye cream is just going to stay exactly where you put it. But I do find that sometimes eye creams can be a little bit more gentle, and so if you are nervous about trying out a skincare line, an eye cream is a really good place to start for the entirety of your face, because you can ease your way into the product line. I'm going to use these little hair tamer clips to clip my bangs back for the tutorial. I love the way that some people can do makeup with their hair. They're like bangs down in their face. It's just, I'm not one of those people, so sorry. We're going to look a little crazy. All right, now that we've got our hair clipped out of the way, let's go in and color correct. The color corrector that I am most obsessed with is the LA Girl one. It's the orange creamy concealer right here. And I like that you can just pump out a tiny bit, quickly brush it where you do feel like you have any type of discoloration, and then neutralize that area. For me, it's definitely around the mouth, and then any areas that I have a little hyperpigmentation from like acne scars, and then of course underneath my eyes. And a little bit of it goes a long way. It dries down really matte, which is why it's important to moisturize the skin prior to doing this. And then I'm just gonna buff that into the skin and shear it out. This blends in really nicely with the moisturizer, so you get a nice soft hydrated appearance rather than like a very dry matte one. Health Hydrating Camo Concealer right here. This went wild on TikTok. People loved it, and I'm trying to just do no foundation, more concealer looks, which is really hard for me, by the way, because I am such a makeup and foundation junkie. It's kind of just like my favorite thing. But I know that in these summer months, everyone's lightening up, and it's important to find a routine for those days that you don't really want to have like a full face. Now with an EcoTools brush, I'm just gonna push that in to the skin. I'm not rubbing, I'm not buffing, I'm literally just pushing and dispersing. This will ensure that we get a nice even coat for the first application. And then if we feel like there are certain areas that are splotchy or the color shifted, we can just go in and add a little more where we need it. It's the color medium beige, and I do feel like I probably could have gone one shade darker. I bought a shade that's several shades darker for contouring, but I think I could have gone maybe one more shade down for the face. So this first application looks really good. It's very, very natural, very skin-like, and I feel like it does cover for the most part, but like I said, I do still have some hyperpigmentation in certain areas, so I do feel like I need to go in with another layer. I'm actually going to let this dry for about a minute, because I find shearing it out when it's really wet will give you a nice wash of color and it neutralizes the skin tone. But if you let it dry, you're going to get maximum coverage and opacity, and that's what we need for these areas right here. Okay, so now that it's dried for a little bit, you can see that I've sheared this out and I've gotten a lot more coverage through that area, which is what we wanted. So let's go ahead and push this in and really build up that coverage. And the rule of thumb is you really want the product to not be shiny anymore. That's how you know that it's basically dry. The superficial layer will be really dry, but underneath that concealer, it will still be a little hydrated, so you can still push it around. It just won't be as movable and as pliable as that first layer. Wow, you guys, I cannot believe this is like a $3 or $6 concealer. It's so good, and it's really nice to not have to wear foundation on like a hot summer day. All right, so to brighten up the under eyes, we're gonna go in with another Hydrating Camo Concealer, but this is in the color Light Sand. You can see that it's significantly lighter than my actual skin tone, and I purposely ordered this color because I wanted this to be what we use to project our features forward and really give a nice highlight to the skin. This product's really nice too, because you don't have to worry about overly caking. It's just naturally a more creamy and dewy formula, so it doesn't really get too cakey. We're gonna go in with an EcoTools sponge. This sponge had incredible reviews on the Ulta and Target website. I'm always looking for the next best sponge, and so I thought this would be a fun one to go in with. And there is nothing like a brand new, clean, out of the packet sponge. I'll tell you, they really are just fabulous. So let's go in with this flat side right here. And again, I did let this concealer dry down for a little bit so it could mattify and provide maximum coverage. I'm hoping though is that the hydration from the sponge doesn't dilute that concealer that we placed underneath. And yeah, it is just a little bit. It is kind of like starting to move. So I'm taking my Eco Tools brush and I'm just pushing it over that area because I don't want it to start to separate and get patchy. I like the sponge though. I will say it has nice bounce. A lot of like affordable drugstore sponges are really firm and they are terrible. And this one's actually really good. It is more firm though than the Real Techniques sponge. All right, let's see what this does underneath here. This concealer technique, by the way, was popularized on TikTok. This guy basically said this is how you lift features, and most people, including myself, have basically been doing our concealer this way without really realizing it. And he says to just focus the concealer here and not really like totally across the under lower lash area, because he said that makes it look, I think he said it makes it just look more unnatural and you kind of want a slight hollow look right there. This is a controversial statement that literally makes zero sense, because if you just put concealer here and here and you blend it all out, the magic is not in the location of the application. The magic is just in the amount of product. So you could use less concealer but still do it all across and you'd get the same result, if that makes any sense. I wanted to make a TikTok talking about it, but I feel like sometimes TikTok can be kind of a negative place, and that like the comments are so like wild, and I don't know. It just wasn't worth it to me. I was like, you know, if it helps people feel better, I'm not going to knock the technique. I'm just telling you that mathematically it makes zero sense. Also, if you don't color correct underneath your eye and you blend out your concealer, it's going to really look gray. So that first step with the orange concealer is really important. I'm going to take the concealer down my laugh lines with the straight edge of the sponge. And I'm using the side of the sponge just to kind of shear all of that out. I did not think that I was going to think the sponge was that good. I thought it was going to be okay. Having this straight part right here with this plane and this shorter plane really does help. Whatever's left over, I'm going to tap onto my eyelid. And now the nose. We're going to use the straight part of the sponge. We're going to go straight on. I've used this concealer a few times, and so far today has been my favorite application with it. All right, so now we've got our concealer set. Let's go in with a little bit of powder. We're gonna go in with the MAC Studio Fix powder. This is in the color NC30. This is a foundation powder, and a little bit of it goes a very long way. I use a angled Real Techniques brush, and just gonna take a little bit of that and set the areas that we highlighted. This powder is significantly lighter than my skin tone as well, and again, this is really just for the center of my face and where I applied that lighter concealer to highlight with. So underneath my eye, there is still a little bit of that hyperpigmentation, a little bit of that darkness, and a little shadow, but I'm actually okay with that. I'm gonna put eyeshadow there anyways, and I typically don't like to have a lot of concealer right up against my lower lash line. To me, it ends up creasing a lot more, and you're kind of fighting your anatomy that way. If you just leave a little bit of space right here and put eyeshadow there, it ends up looking a lot more natural anyway. For the outer perimeter of my face, we're going to go back in with another MAC Studio Fix powder, but this is in the shade NC50, which is my shade, a little bit more tan than my shade. I'm actually NC45, and I'm just going to use this to warm up the edges of my face. I apply minimal product on my forehead. I do just a little bit to kind of bring the look together, but I don't overly chisel or carve out my forehead because I have a very small forehead, so I don't want to make it look any smaller. And then with our third Studio Fix powder, this is an NW45, so it has a little bit more of a burgundy or red undertone to it. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of this, and then I'm going to use this just to add some warmth and color to the bridge of my nose, starting at the brow and then bringing the color down a little bit underneath this lower lip right here, and then of course along the jawline and the hollows of the cheeks. I'm going to skip my forehead, but I will take the same color and then just push that through the crease and then a little bit past where the eye ends, just to kind of create a nice warm, soft contoured look. All right, for the highlight on the face, we're gonna go in with this e.l.f. bite-size eyeshadow palette. I love these. This is in the color Cream and Sugar, and these are $3. I love using this champagne gold color right here mixed in with a little bit of this more yellow gold color right here to create a nice highlight. So we're just gonna do that. I'm just gonna like lightly dust that on the tops of my cheeks with a fan brush. This applies minimal product but covers quite a bit of surface area, so it's nice for natural looks, because I don't want my highlights just like sit in like one little section. I want it to look like, you know, a nice glow. And for cheeks, we're gonna go in with the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in the color Always Spicy. This has always been sold out at Target whenever I've wanted it. It took me a while to get my hands on it, but I finally did at Ulta. It says that it's a long-wearing blush infused with primer powder to ensure full day, perfectly placed flush blush. So I don't know about you, but for me, blush is the first thing that fades on my face, and I've just wanted this color forever. It's really comparable to like MAC Raisin Blush, and oh my gosh, the pigment is so good. That is just on bare skin with no primer underneath it, and it's got quite a bit of longevity, so I'm excited to put this on. I'm gonna go in with another EcoTools brush. This is my favorite blush brush because it's angled and it's soft. Taking a little bit of that, I'm gonna start directly underneath my pupil and then feather up towards the outer corners. Oh my, that is so pretty. Yeah, like pretty obsessed with that. Oh my god, that is so... Like, I have not been excited about a blush in years. You guys know I use eyeshadows as blushes because I just haven't really found any that like wow me, and I'm placing a little bit more highlighter on top of it, but like, holy cow, that is so good. Not even being dramatic here because I'm not that kind of person, but this is very good. Okay, let's go in with the e.l.f. Bite Size eyeshadow palette in the colorway Carnival Candy. I love these two colors specifically. I think they're gorgeous, and we're just gonna take a little bit of them together. And let's get this on the eye. We're just gonna start in small circular motions, buffing that onto the crease. So the pigment of these shadows is really good. And I think on top of the concealers that we were using on the eye, I think that really created a nice neutral base and gave the product something to grab onto. It's a good combo. A lot of products in today's video are e.l.f. A lot of EcoTools brushes too. Back in with the Cream and Sugar palette, we're going to take this champagne color that we used on the cheeks, and we're going to use that for our inner corner highlight. I'm just going to take my ring finger and kind of push that over because I don't want it to be like so blinding. I just want it to have like a little pop in the inner corner. All right, now I'm going to take a pointed brush and go back in with this Carnival palette and take these two colors again, and then use that for the under eye shadow. This creates an eyeshadow and then hides that anatomical like crease that everyone has right here. Also makes your eye look bigger. I have not yet played with this blue color. I think I just swatched it on my Instagram stories, but I really want to use it in a look. I just don't know when I will get to wear blue eyeshadow. All right, another product I'm very excited about is the Persona eyeliners. This is in the color Plum, and I just love a colored eyeliner. I'm so over black. I just think it's really harsh and sometimes can take your look way too nighttime, and I have seen these all over the Persona Instagram. I'm a very big fan of the brand. I think it's really classy, elegant, and chic, and this plum liner is divine. So we're just gonna put that straight on. And it's called plum, but it's not overly purple. It's a nice hybrid of like a dark brown meets a plum. That is so pretty. Very creamy, very smooth, comfortable on the eye, and I'm not having to push down really hard to get the pigmentation that I want. Also gonna use this in my waterline. I wear contacts. I have very sensitive eyes, and I actually don't wear a lot of eyeliner in my waterline because of that. So if something doesn't irritate my waterline, we're good. Well, this will be the test. Back with my crease brush, whatever shadow is left on the brush, I'm just gonna use this to kind of diffuse the top of that area where the eyeliner is because it's a little sticky. And we're just gonna buff that over the eye. And the pointed brush underneath as well. I'm just gonna take that and allow some of that eyeliner to kind of mix into the lower lash line right here. It's really soft, subtle eye, and I'm really into it. For mascara, we're gonna go in with two mascaras. We're gonna go in first with the L'Oreal Voluminous Waterproof. I use this quite a bit, and then the Maybelline Lash Discovery. This really gets the lashes to where I want them in terms of volume, but this is really nice for detail and really making sure that the base of the lash is coated evenly. So I'm gonna pop these on. All right, for lips, we are going in with MAC Half Red. MAC liners are unrivaled. They are the best in the game. And this color is a nice cool toned berry, as you can see here. It's not overly warm. It actually works well with nude lips or more of the berry tones. For lipstick, we're gonna go in with the Buxom Supermodel lipstick. These are newer to Ulta, and I love all Buxom lip products. I think this is slightly plumping, and look at this color right here. So pretty. Swatch it next to the Half Red so you can actually see those two together. See how it goes so well with the Half Red. Very creamy, hydrating, and it has a slight tingle to it because it is plumping, but it's not overbearing to me. So pretty. And for gloss, let's go in with another Buxom product because I'm a fiend. And this is in the color Hazel, and it has a fall scent to it, so it has like a little gold pumpkin at the top. These looked incredible online, and they're slightly shimmery. What we think about this next to the Supermodel lipstick. Oh yeah, it's just like a nice little gold shimmery gloss. So we're just gonna take that and pop that in the center. And it is very fall. Wow, super into that. Let's finish off the face with the very last product that we're gonna try today, which is the Milani Make It Last. Again, this had incredible reviews online. I actually used this to hydrate the soap that I used in my brows, but I wanna see how this works on the face as well. You guys, that smells so good. Let's zoom out so we can take a look at everything all together. Okay, so now that we have the full face here, what are my thoughts? I am really blown away by the e.l.f. Hydro Camo Concealer. I used this a few times with a couple of different methods, and I like it if I am going for something natural. So in today's look, I didn't really use a foundation. I just sheared concealer all over my face, and I think it looks very, very skin-like. Do I think that this is something that would be good for a concealer? No, I don't think so. I prefer having a concealer that is a little bit more intense because I want to use just a little amount in small doses strategically. But as a foundation, yeah, like a no makeup look, or you just want a nice even neutral tone, this is going to be a good product for you. When it came to the eyes, the Persona Plum Liner, you guys, this is incredible. The pigmentation was so beautiful. It went on like a really rich plum, but it wasn't overly purple, so I feel like it could go in a dark brown direction, and it complemented my skin tone really well. It also was creamy. I didn't have to tug or pull on my eye, and that was ideal for me because if you watch me on Instagram or here, I don't really do a lot of eyeliners because they irritate my eyes, but so far this one's been really comfortable. The two eyeshadows we went in with were from the e.l.f. Bite Size eyeshadow palette. These little tiny things pack a punch. I really loved being able to use this one as a highlighter for the face as well. It doesn't look like chunky glittery highlighter sitting on my skin. It just looks like a nice subtle sheen, and I'm happy with it. Overall, the product that stole the show for me in terms of complexion products was the blush from e.l.f. This is Always Spicy. It has a primer in it, so it kept it on, and from the moment I swatched it with my finger, I could tell that it was there to stay on my face. I love the way it looks on my skin. It's not overly powdery, and I don't feel like I had to apply a lot to get the pigmentation that I wanted. I felt like one swipe was enough, and I don't think it's going to fade for quite some time. All right, for lips, we went in with Half Red Liner. I used to use this in high school, and I forgot how much I loved it, and let me tell you that it's exactly what my makeup collection was missing. Every one of my lip liners was either too nude, too cool tone, or just went really, really warm, and I needed it in my life. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Buxom lipsticks, so the color Supermodel is what I'm wearing, and it is just a nice, soft pink. It's slightly neutral nude, and it went on like butter. Of course, it has a little bit of the plumping agents in it, so if the tingly sensation's not your cup of tea, then I would stay away from this formula, but the color is everything. And gloss is back, you guys. I'm thankful we stepped away from the liquid lipsticks. My lips could not handle the dehydration one more day, and the full-on plumping lip polish from Buxom again has that tingling sensation in it, but a little bit of this went a really long way, and although it looks really shimmery and glittery here, it actually didn't go on like that. I was nervous when I pulled it out of the package. I thought it was going to be very like I don't know, like limited to Claire Spice Girls shimmery lips from the 90s, 2000s, but it wasn't. It gave my lips a tiny little sparkle in the center, reflects light nicely off my lips so that they look more plump, and the tingling isn't bad. Again, I'm really happy with it. Okay, and lastly, the Milani Make It Last Setting Spray. This was heavenly. I used this to wet the soap that I used on my brows, and I spritzed my face with this. You guys, for a drugstore brand, I'm so shocked that this pump sprays product so evenly across the face. It felt like a nice, even, like misty shower. It didn't feel like I was overly concentrating product and that it was like spitting. I didn't have to hold the product way too far away. It was a really, really nice application, and it's not overly drying. I was nervous that because it was less expensive, there was going to be a lot of like denatured alcohol that was going to dry out my skin, and I still feel like I have touchable soft skin. I just feel like it's not going to move. And I also love what it did in my brows. It held the hair up nicely, but they don't feel crusty, which is really nice. Oh, I'm sorry. We also forgot this winner chicken dinner. The Eco Tools sponge. We're always looking for a good beauty sponge. This is nice. The shape is just a little bit different than the one that I always go to, which is the Real Techniques one. With that being said, let me know if you have any questions. I cannot wait to do more videos. I feel like I've stepped into a new version of myself where I'm just a lot more comfortable doing these things. I just don't overthink them as much as I used to, and I feel like I'm producing more content and better content with that mindset. So anyways, I'll catch up with you guys next time. Bye.